The issue is wanting to impose views on other people. Now, the right wing are hijacking this conversation because we aren't, as liberals, as small L liberals, human rights advocates, aren't having it in the way that we should be having it, right? So if we were able to make these clarifications and say the problem isn't being a conservative Muslim, the issue is the Islamist theocratic tendency. If more right-wingers saw people like my sister Sarah challenging Islamist extremism, it would make it harder for them to say every Muslim is an extremist, because right there in front of them would be a clearly devout Muslim making a case against Islamist extremism. It's the best way to challenge bigotry.
My problem with that is that, again, you're making this assumption that everybody who subscribes to this theory of Islamism is trying to impose their view, and that's exactly what I'm saying I disagree with. If you want to have a talk and you want to have an honest talk about Islam and extremism, or Islamism as you like to call it, then you need to talk about a number of factors, and you need to have an honest conversation that bring in the reality of everything as you already know, from the geopolitical realities to the foreign policies to the inequalities between North and South, to all of these things that actually affect the modern day psyche.
You're really trying to disagree with me when they're actually...
but
I don't understand why.
I'm not trying to disagree with you. I am just trying to say that there are, if you would let me finish, I'm trying to say that there are wider barriers and parameters to this debate, and when you come in and limit it, that is the problem. But you just said
Sarah,
that you are not on.
Okay, let me respond. Let me respond.
You're really insistent on just not letting me finish the sentence.
Yeah, because
with all due respect.
Let's Sarah, to finish this, and then we'll get your response.
The point that I'm trying to make is that for you, you definitely only believe in one way of a government, only believe in secularism, or only believe that there should be, there's no room for theocracy. That is what you said, no room for Islamism. That is correct. So what I'm trying to say is that there doesn't need to be that limitation. I mean, if you're talking about violent extremism, that's one thing, but if you're talking about people who have a belief in a certain way of government, then what is the issue there?
Yeah,
I'm not advocating for violence.
Yeah, I'm really confused, right? Because you're saying that I'm limiting my introduction mentioned the genocide in Bosnia, it mentioned discrimination, it mentioned human rights. So first of all, let's be clear, I'm not just talking about, you know, the mistakes within Muslim communities. But then the second thing that's really confused me, and I'm curious as to why there's this desire just to disagree, right? Because surely you agree theocracy is wrong. Surely.
Do I need to? Do I need to agree that it is wrong?
Let me ask a question
you want me to agree that it is wrong?
This isn't about what I want and what you want, Sarah. No,
excuse me, but you are trying to undermine everything that I'm saying by saying...
I think we've heard both sides of this exchange, and I don't feel as though we're progressing much at this point.
Nor do I, because I haven't actually told Sarah to do anything. What I'm
you
surprised
asked me, do I agree with theocracy? Did you not? As though I owe an answer to you.
What I'm surprised at is that without even inviting, I'm getting disagreed at. Now, the thing is, I haven't told Sarah she has to say one thing or the other. I'm confused that anyone can disagree that I'm saying secularism is better than theocracy. And so what I'm confused about is why would there be a need to disagree with me when I'm saying that we need to have a consistent...
Do you think that
wait a minute, Sarah. I think you've had you go.
We need to have a consistent approach to human rights within minority communities as well as outside them. There's no need to disagree with that statement. So
could I just intervene here as well? Because just speaking as an Australian, and I know, Sarah, you're an Australian as well, Australia is not a theocracy. I, as an Australian, do not want it to become a theocracy. I meet people like, for example, you know, I read of them, or many people with, not all Muslims, but some Muslims do want that because they believe that that is what Islam says should happen, that we should live in a theocratic state. So it is very important for me that my fellow Australians understand that that is actually non-negotiable as far as I'm concerned. And so it is I am very interested when people say, oh, do I need to think theocracy is good or bad? Well, from my point of view as an Australian, yes, you do. It's absolutely fundamentally important here in Australia and throughout the Western world.
33% when surveyed of Britain's Muslims said, though they disagree with ISIS, and actually that's how low our bar has sunk, that we think that's somehow a definition of moderate. Even Al-Qaeda disagrees with ISIS, right? But 33% of Britain's Muslims, when polled, said they support a theocratic caliphate. So, of course, not just Sarah, not just Maajid, not just Muslims, but everyone in Britain, everyone in Australia needs to speak out against this social ill that is theocracy, just like we all need to speak out against racism.
Am I the reason you get stoned every week now? Build up integrity, got you texting, emailing me, wanting me to feel with you. Baby, just face reality, move on. Sometimes it's hard to face reality.